Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us here at the regular EPP's Finance Ministers meeting in Brussels. I'm delighted to be joined here today with Mr. Anders Borg from Sweden. Hello, thank you for joining us. Europe is now in an economic financial crisis. Can you please explain to our citizens what is Europe doing?
The key question for Europe is whether we can restore the credit channel, or whether we can get loans to the companies and get the mortgage interest rates down for the households. We have done some progress in hindering bad banks from failing, but we do have a quite limited success in terms of restoring the credit channel in general. So it's very important in a credibility crisis that that the citizens are reassured that we will keep our public finances sustainable in the long term. So that, I think, is a good starting point. I also think there is a need for further measures to improve our production capabilities in the longer term perspective. And some of those measures, like infrastructure investment, tax cuts and further structural reforms are mentioned in the Barroso plan. So I think that those are probably the three most important parts.
And the centre-right has been demanding tax cuts for quite some time. Perhaps you could just elaborate on this as a possible proposal solution.
Well, if we, for example, could cut taxes for low and middle income earners, that would be very important to get people to have some more money to spend during the Christmas time. It would also be important to lower costs on employment, because obviously employment cost is something that is now pushing unemployment upwards. So that would be two quite important tax cuts.
And just finally, we have the EPP's Economic Finance Ministers meeting today. What are you expecting from this meeting? What is the role of the EPP?
I think the EPP plays a crucial role. We have very, very good discussions, and we also have an opportunity to coordinate our discussions ahead of the meeting with the ECOFIN. So I think this is a very, very constructive effort from the EPP to have these meetings.
The crisis, as you know, comes from the financial sector. So one of the first things that Europe did was to coordinate its policies about the financial sector, and especially making sure that our credit systems, our banks, would be in a position to keep lending to small businesses, to keep lending to households for housing, to keep lending to the economy in general. So one of our first priorities was to ensure that we avoided the credit crunch, that lending would continue to support economic growth, to support investment, to support initiatives by our citizens. Of course, this is not enough. We know we need to do more. So now we are looking at what we can do through our budgets to ensure that economic growth will resume as soon as possible, that we avoid recession, that we avoid unemployment to the largest possible extent. Of course, these are difficult times.
The people really are panicking out there. Could you give them a final message or a piece of advice or some concrete measures that are going to take place?
Well, I think panic is the worst thing that can happen in such a situation. I think our citizens should look to the future with confidence. European governments are handling the situation. We are coordinating. Of course, citizens must not panic. They must keep spending. They must keep buying European goods and supporting the European economy.
Financial systems in the European Union are a common good. They are like the blood veins in a body. So if you have the financial institutions that are literally falling apart, then that could have had a very negative impact on the people of Europe in terms of their savings, their pensions, and the real basic elements which today make our common life. And therefore it was pretty important that as governments we addressed this issue together to make sure that we would not allow financial institutions to fail, because at the end of the day it would have been us as common people who had suffered from such a situation. And I think together we have shown as governments that we are able to respond to this important task and to really stop this situation and to address it. We need to address back the confidence we need to give to the economy. We need to give a signal that governments are willing to invest in our economies to make sure that we are able to generate jobs, to create the opportunities, and to ensure that we come out of this downturn in the world economy as quickly as possible. There was a huge debate on what package each government should be offering to the economy to make sure that we actually create the growth and jobs that we need to secure in the economy. And people need to also work harder to ensure that, within our places of work, within our enterprises, we are more productive, to make sure that we can really start recreating the wealth which have seen, unfortunately, fall so sharply because of this downturn.
And as Finance Minister of Malta and a member of the EPP, what would you say to the citizens?
As an EPP party in Europe, we are doing our best, because ultimately people are the center of our focus, the individual, and at the end of the day, we need to make sure that everyone out there in the street, in the place of work, in his family, is given a better opportunity, and we need to work hard to make that happen.
Thank you very much. That's a very positive message.
Thank you.
Have a good meeting. Thank you.